Hello everyone and welcome back to Colleen's Crafting Trove. I'm Colleen and this video is going to be the Random Rusty Q&A tag. I've been meaning to do this one for a while and Mama G Gear mentioned it in a video that I just watched the other day or yesterday. And I went, oh, I've been meaning to do that. So, I'm going to do that. So, I've got the questions over here on the laptop. So, if I'm looking that way, that's why. So, first question. Besides yarn, is there anything else you collect? I used to. But I'm more into decluttering these days. I do still have a few of my stuffed animals. Let's see. Yeah, I don't... The only other thing I think that's really all I still have out of anything that I did collect was some of my stuffed animals. I was, at one point in time, a jamberry consultant, and I still have a pretty big collection of nail wraps. But yeah, other than that, I don't really yarn and everything yarny related, that's it. The next question is, what's your most prized possession? I actually have that right over here, so give me just a second, I'm going to go grab it. Alright, I am back. So, before I show this, creepy doll alert, okay? Creepy doll alert. I have two prized possessions, and when I think prized possessions, I think of if my house were on fire, besides my husband and my cats, what would I grab? The first thing I would grab is this doll right here. This doll was my biological mother's doll. She is a little worse for wear. This is how I received her. She does do the whole open, close eyes thing if you tilt her. She's completely posable. And she has this beautiful pink dress on. So yeah, I guess I'd creep it all alert. And she has her little chair that she sits on, and she's in the craft room. And then my second prized possession, this is Barry. I have had Barry since I was 9 years old. I think he's in pretty good shape considering I'm now in my 40s. I mean, he's got a few stains, and he's supposed to be white. So he's a little aged. But this is Barry. And the reason he is one of my prized possessions is he is the first stuffed animal that I ever got from my stepmom. And we actually got him when she bought her new car after my dad and myself were all in a very nasty car accident when I was 8. I got very lucky to survive that accident. I didn't have any injuries after that accident, but if I had been sitting in a different area of the truck, I would have been squished between my parents, and I probably wouldn't be here today. But we had stopped. We were on our way to the hunting shack, and we had stopped in town for something, and I don't remember what. And I asked my parents if I could get into the back of the truck for the rest of the trip. And they said, sure, why not? And we were hauling up a big old-fashioned chair, one of those ones that kind of come up and wrap around you. We were hauling that up to the store up at the shack. And so I was sitting in that in the back of the truck, and we hit a patch of black ice and rolled. If I had stayed in the front seat, I would have been squished between my parents because neither of my parents were wearing their seatbelts at the time. And this is, late 80s, early 90s was when this happened. And yeah, if I had been in the front seat, I would have been sitting right between them, and I would have gotten smushed. So it was a good thing I had moved. But yeah, so that is why he is one of my prized possessions. Those two are things that, if my house were on fire, I would cry if I didn't get them out. Alright. Next question, number 3. Name a book or movie that is important to you. I'm going to say a movie that is important to me, and that movie is Beaches. I believe there's a book that's associated with it, but I've never read it. But Beaches is important to me. The first time I ever watched that was shortly after I lost my biological mother, and watching that movie just kind of helped me grieve my loss, which I hadn't really done to that point. I watched that movie about 3 years after my mother passed away. And so, that one has always been very important to me. It's one that, yes, I bawl my eyes out every time I watch it because it always brings back that memory, which is a good thing, but at the same time, it's kind of sad. But that is definitely a movie that is very important to me. Number 4, how many languages can you say thank you? I used to know more, but right now the only one I can think of is English. But again, it's been a long week, and I'm tired, and my brain is not quite functioning properly, so yeah. Alright, number 5. What's the most interesting place you visited? So a while back, the company I work for, I worked with a team where we did a lot of traveling. And I got to visit a lot of places during that. But I think so far the most interesting place that I got to visit was Washington, D.C. All of the history that's there, it was amazing to see. So I think Washington, D.C. for me was probably one of the most interesting places I've visited so far. I've never left the continental U.S. I still haven't even been to the lower 48. I still haven't been to most. I've been to a good chunk of it, but I haven't been to all of it. Yeah. So Moving on. Number 6. Are you a morning bird or a night owl? I used to be a night owl. Not as much anymore. I'm definitely not a morning bird. I would say I'm a midday. I'm probably at my best in the middle of the day, with tendency to move more towards night owl than morning, because I am not functional in the morning at all. It takes me until about 10 a.m. and about 3 cups of coffee to really get functional. Alright, tell us about your animal family. Well, you guys, in the intro, you see pictures of Tommy and Gaia and Hunter. Those are the kitties that I currently have. But there are 3 more that I would like to mention here. And I'm going to apologize now if I get emotional, because all 3 of these kitties have passed. They're my boys. There are original 3. King, Santana, and Augie. King, let's see if I can bring up some pictures here real quick so you guys can see who I'm talking about. Camera. So King was the cat that my husband and I first adopted. And it's actually quite a funny adoption story. So my husband and I, as I've mentioned in the past, my husband and I are gamers. And we, in the middle of November in 2005, when the PlayStation 3 was coming out, my husband and I decided to camp to get a PlayStation 3. And when I say camp, I mean literally camp in a tent on the sidewalk of Circuit City in Minnesota in November. It was cold. It was miserable. Fortunately, because we got in line 2 days before it was due to release. Okay? Now, we were 7th in line, and there was a whole bunch of people behind us too. And so we camped out for one night, and that next morning, when the employees came in, they saw us all camping out there, and they came out and told us, hey, guys, look, we only have so many, PlayStation 3s. We're going to count out who was where, and we're going to give you a ticket, and, you can claim your ticket, or you can claim your PlayStation 3 with that ticket, tomorrow when it releases. So, yeah. Well, it turns out we were 2 spots too far back in line. 2 spots. And we were 7th in line. They only had 7, but a couple of the people in front of us, a couple of the groups in front of us had a couple of people that were looking to get one. So when we, got all packed up and everything, I looked at my husband and I said, now, keep in mind, I'm allergic to cats. Yes, I'm allergic to my cats. It's a real mild allergy these days. As long as I remember to take my allergy pill in the morning, I'm usually fine. And as long as we, vacuum on a semi-regular basis, I'm fine. All it does to me now is just kind of plug me up. But when I was younger, I would break out in hives, and I would have a hard time breathing, and I honestly thought I would never be able to have a cat. And I had told my husband this many years before we got married, that more than likely it wouldn't happen. But I had been around several cats not too long before. I'm having a really hard time finding pictures here. I had been around some cats not too long before this whole fiasco with the PlayStation 3. So when we got into the vehicle after they told us that we weren't going to get one, I looked at my husband and I said, "Hey, since we can't get a PS3, let's go get a CAT." So we went to the animal shelter, and we're looking around for a while, and I had found this other cat named Jake. He was an older cat. He needed to be adopted. My heart was pretty set on him, and my husband's like, "Well, why don't you just go look a little bit more, and if he's really the one, then we'll adopt him." So I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I hear this meow behind me. And I turned around, and I saw this face. Now, this is a really bad picture. The lighting is horrible. But this is my king. Granted, this is my king all grown up. He's about 12 years old in this picture. And he was only 8 months old when we got him. He is an Egyptian Mau mix. He's not a purebred, but he is an Egyptian Mau mix. And he was just the sweetest boy. He was my husband's best friend. Unfortunately, we lost him to cancer in November of 2018. But he lived a really good life, and he is dearly missed every single day. Next up is Santana. I'm trying to find a good picture of him. Santana was the second cat that we got, because we realized pretty quickly after we got King that we needed him to have a buddy, because we worked crazy hours, and he spent way too much time home alone, and he needed a friend. And we actually realized it. My brother had come up to visit for the holidays, and we were sitting watching Animal Planet, and some cats came on the TV while we were watching Animal Planet, and King's head just poked up, and he hopped up on the table, and he sat down, and he stared at that TV until the other kitties went away. So we went, okay, yep, we need to get him a buddy. So I started looking, and I was looking online, and I kept seeing this ad pop up for this young cat who needed a home because his dog brother had been attacked by his other dog brother, and he was only a few months old, and Santana was too much of a handful for the dog that was recovering from being attacked. So I finally I contacted the people, and I was like, all right, let's take a peek at this kitty. Now, he was only 6 or 7 months old when we got him. But his paws were huge. And we're like, okay, he is going to be a very, very big kitty. Why am I not finding good pictures of my babies? I have them on here. I know I do. I'm just not finding them. I have too much going on my phone, I think. So yeah, we get there, and I mean, this cat's paws, I mean, he was a kitten, and his paws were the biggest paws that I have ever seen on a cat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he is going to be huge. And he was huge. He was at his biggest, I think he was 22 pounds, but he was tall. And he could put his paws on the counter and watch my husband and I cook dinner. Ah, there we go. Here's a really good picture. So this is my Santana. We lost him very early. Unfortunately, we lost him very unexpectedly to HCM, which is a form of heart disease. And it was very unexpected. I was traveling for work at the time. I was down in San Antonio, and my husband came home from work and found him. And that was probably the most heartbreaking, phone call I've ever received in my life. And we didn't find out until afterwards that he had HCM. It was very early stages. He was, we had a necropsy done because we didn't know what happened. And the people that did the necropsy said it was so early that the vets would never have caught it. It turns out he was lucky because he just went to sleep and didn't wake up, instead of the long drawn out heart disease that it could have been. So that was my Santana. Next up was Augie, and this is my Augie baby, or Mr. Ah, as he was always called. We got him last, and it's actually funny, when we got him, in the apartment we were living in at the time, a buddy of ours really wanted to go get a cat, and he had asked my husband and I if we would be willing to come with him down to the shelter to make sure that he got the right cat for him, because he didn't have a whole lot of experience, and he was looking at kittens, and he just wanted to make sure he was doing the right thing. And he's like, he pulled up the shelter website. Sorry, I have the hiccups. He pulled up the animal shelter website, and he's scrolling through, and he scrolls past Augie's picture, and my husband's like, well, wait, go back. And it was like meant to be that this cat was going to be ours, because our friend scrolled immediately right back to the picture of Augie. And Sean's like, okay, yep, we're coming with you because we're going to go get that cat. So we ended up with Augie, and the three of them loved each other very much. They were all three very bonded. Santana and Augie would cuddle for hours upon hours upon hours. Cuddled together. King would sometimes join them. Yeah, so we miss those 3 dearly. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't think about 3 of them. We ended up losing Augie to cancer in June of 2021, shortly before his 17th birthday. Cancer sucks, I tell ya. Cancer really, really sucks. And with both Augie and King, it was a very aggressive, nothing we could do cancer. With King, we found out on a Monday that he had cancer, and he passed on a Friday. That, the Friday of the same week. We got an extra week with Augie. We found out with Augie that on a Monday as well that he had cancer, and we got a full week, and then almost the second full week. It was the following Sunday that we had to make the decision to put him down. And tell you, that is the hardest decision in the world. But now we have our Tommy, and Tommy is, when we got Tommy, we were not ready yet, because we got Tommy shortly, well, not even a month after King passed. We weren't ready, we weren't looking, it was nothing, we were not ready, to say the least. But he kind of did the same thing to me that King did. As in, we had gone, Sean and my husband and I had gone to the pet food store, and they were doing an adoption event that day. I didn't even look. I wasn't ready. I wasn't planning on it. I was looking at treats, and all of a sudden I hear this meow behind me. And I turn around, and this is what I see. This is my Tommy. And that's exactly how he was looking at me. Because I took that picture shortly after I turned around. Like I said, just like King, the meow. I turned around, that was it. That's all I needed to do. I turned around, and I couldn't leave him. I could not leave him without adopting him. And I tried. We walked out, we got what we went to the store for, we walked out the store. I took about 3 or 4 steps out of that store, and I started having a panic attack. I don't do that. I don't have panic attacks. And I'm like, I can't leave. I cannot leave without adopting this cat. I said, he has to come home with us. I said, I know we're not anywhere near ready, but he needs to come home. Well, and of course, we go back in, and we had to go through all the adoption process, and unfortunately, he had an upper respiratory infection at the time, so we couldn't bring him home that day anyway. We had to wait a week. But after we signed all the adoption papers and everything, I was much better, and I was like, okay, now we can go. Now I know he's going to be ours. We can go. And then with Gaia, we were not looking. We weren't planning on getting another cat. We really were not planning on getting another cat. At that point, we had Augie and we had Tommy, and that was it. We were good. But, again, we went to the kitty food store. We had to stop going to kitty food stores that are doing adoption events. Or that, have pets for adoption. And at first, I didn't see her, but my husband did. And this is what she looked like when we first got her. That's my beautiful Gaia. And she is a mama's girl. Oh boy, is she ever a mama's girl. My boys, my original 3, they were all Papa's boys. Big time Papa's boys. I mean, they loved me and everything, but, you know, if they had their choice to sit with me or sit with my husband, they always sat with me. My current 3, she's the mama's girl. My boys, they don't really have a preference. They love us both. But yeah, so we found her. We did leave without her. We came back the next week, and we just couldn't leave without her that next week. They're like, nope, she's got to come home. And then we're like, okay, that's it. No more. We're not gonna have any more pets. We've got 3 again. We're good. Well, so we adopted her in June. We were good for a few months. And in February, I went to the kitty food store by myself, and I saw this face. Now, how can you say no to that face? You just can't say no to that face. That is my Hunter. He was only 4 months old in that picture. He was only 4 months old. I'm trying to see if I have a better picture from when we first got him. Yeah. He's only 4 months old. I couldn't say no to that face. I just couldn't. The other factor was the fact that when I first looked into his eyes, all I saw was King staring back at me. And I couldn't leave him. So called my husband and I said, hey, I'm sending you some pictures and I'm going to be bringing him home. So my husband met me up at the kitty food store and we brought Hunter home. So that is my animal family. I'm going to try and speed up the rest of this. Sorry that was so long. Number 8. What show or movie do you love to rewatch? Outlander. I have watched Outlander 5 or 6 times. I've also read the books several times. I'm a big Outlander fan. How do I recharge besides knitting or crocheting or crafting? It used to be riding the motorcycles. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to do that this year. Didn't really get much of a chance last year. I'm hoping we can get some time here very soon, even though it's already the end of September. I'm hoping we can get out and get some riding done, because riding the motorcycle, and I have my own, my husband has his own, you know, I don't ride on the back, I have my own bike. Yeah, that's how I recharge, and I have not been able to get that recharge, and I very, very badly need it. My favorite way to travel, car. Well, motorcycle is number 1, but I haven't really gone too far. We've only done one trip on the, we've only done one trip on the motorcycles, and that was just up to Duluth. We haven't really gone any farther than that. So, besides the motorcycles, my car. I have a nice car. Not like a fancy car or anything, but it's a pretty nice car. We enjoy it. So yeah, definitely my car. Did you have any nicknames? Ivy is one of my nicknames, and that is from my wrestling days. Ivy Nightshade was my stage name, and a lot of people still call me that. Besides that, somehow when I was little, my mom called me Ernie, and I don't know why. I still to this day don't know why. And then Cole. Cole is my very close family can call me Cole, but that's it. There's only a few people that use that one. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? I'm somewhere in the middle. I can be very introverted. I can be very introverted. I don't like to leave the house, to be completely honest. I can, but I don't like to. And once I get out of the house, well, then usually I'm, ooh, hey, look at me, let's do this and let's do that, and I'm ready to do this, and I will talk your ear off. Especially once I get to know ya. Number 13, what was your first official job? Retail. I worked retail as my first official job. Followed up shortly by housekeeping. And I did that for many, many years. I don't do that anymore. My body doesn't allow me after my car accident. Number 14, if money was no object, how would you spend your day? If money was no object, I would be out in the middle of the woods somewhere with my husband, sitting, doing absolutely nothing but spending time in nature and crocheting. That is how I would spend my day. With the occasional volunteer day at one of the many, many, many animal shelters that are in the area. Number 15. If you became the ruler of your country, what is the first law you would pass? I am very much an animal advocate. It would definitely be something related to animal welfare. In particular, shutting down puppy mills and cat mills and all of the places that mistreat animals. There would be some very strict laws and animal welfare. Not that there aren't I shouldn't say more important things. Not that there aren't other important things, but that would be right up there. Number 16 and final question is name something that you are proud of. I am proud how do I want to word this? I am proud that my husband and I have the type of relationship that most people want. We are very open with each other. We are very, his coworkers always ask, why are you always in such a rush to get home at the end of the day? And he always tells his coworkers that it's because he wants to get home to me, because he actually still likes me, let alone loves me, and wants to spend time with me. And when I was working outside of the home, because I work from home now, when I was working outside of the home, I felt the exact same way. I wanted to get home so that I could spend time with him. We very much enjoy each other's company, and like I said, we've been together for 23 years. We've been married for 19, and he is my best friend. And I couldn't imagine my life without him. So that is what I am proud of. I am proud of my marriage. So that is my random Rusty Q&A. I'm sorry this was such a chatty one, but hey, you asked me about my cats. What can I say? I could go on for hours about my cats, but I won't for your sake. So, alright everybody, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you all have a safe and wonderful day. Bye.